Alright, so currently we are looking on transmission service. The cluster that you're doing is inspect transmission, service transmission. The same class right here, yes, all of you did service this transmission, but from this transmission has been serviced. I don't see any check light come on. I don't experience any excessive performance problem, but the issue I'm observing, I noticed that when I normally like at 1500 RPM on the flat, I could easily go 60 and the vehicle in eco mode. I noticed I have to go like 2000 or probably a little bit below 2000 RPM to maintain the same speed. So I have an issue with that. I was considering if it was the quality of the fuel was the issue. But like how you people are here now, I want somebody to check this fluid level for me. But I'm going to highlight certain things. When you're servicing automatic transmission, it don't necessarily mean that we only change the fluid or we change the filter. In this particular case, some Hondas, you can't really change the filter like that. You know, like sometimes the Suzuki and the Mitsubishi, they would have canister filters that you can screw off. Some of the Toyota, you would have the filter where you screw off the pan, the fluid pan, and remove that filter. Alright, so, but on certain older system now during the servicing, because in class now, we look through the major parts that make up the automatic transmission. So we look at the external component first. We look at the torque converter housing, we look at the casing or the housing, and we look at the extension housing. And that is a rear-wheel drive transmission, like our trainer. So, and the transaxle now, we look at the torque converter housing, we look at the casing, and we look at the final drive and differential assembly, where we put in the drive axle, the CV giant drive axle. Alright. On some transmission, the older set of transmission, we look on how to service it, we change the fluid, do the inspection. But on transmission, we have to take adjustment into consideration. And the older type of transmission will have some cable. We have a term that we call it here in Jamaica, we call it kick down cable. But it's not really kick down cable, you know. It's actually a throttle valve cable or a TV cable. That cable normally adjusts the valves that within the transmission to regulate pressure, help regulate pressure within the automatic transmission. That is one adjustment. The other adjustment is the TPS adjustment. Because if the TPS adjustment is out, you know, that can create issue with the shifting point of the transmission. And the other adjustment is the cable, the shift cable adjustment. So that cable that runs from the shift lever to the safety neutral switch, or some people call it transmission range sensor, or some European vehicle might call it inhibitor switch or safety switch. It's the same thing. Transmission range sensor, inhibitor switch, safety neutral switch. The cable that runs from the shift lever to the safety neutral switch requires some adjustment. I don't know if I can find mine right here because I need them vehicle. These vehicles are pretty. I can't see it right here. I would have to remove all of this intake cleaner to actually see that safety neutral switch. I'm not seeing it right here. Alright, so that is no biggie. But one way to check to ensure that you just put the vehicle in P. I'm going to have to come around here. Ensure proper shifting is taking place and the adjustment is correct. Right here we have the P, and of course our ignition is on, so we also have P. So what we need to do now, we need to ensure each gear that it is in, everything is corresponding. So checked in the cable shiftage currently, stick lever in park, we also unpark on the cluster. Alright, reverse, stick lever in reverse, in the cluster, reverse. What we are doing now, we are checking if this need any adjustment, you know. Alright, neutral, We are neutral right here. Cluster in neutral. D right here. Cluster in D. S. Cluster in S. Lower. So we know that there's no adjustment needed. Oftentimes, what can happen, and I've experienced it already, the vehicle might be in D, and when the vehicle is in D right here, so when you look on the instrument cluster, the vehicle actually in neutral. So you know that adjustment need to take place. Because for most part, most vehicles, they still use a cable from the stick lever to the safety neutral switch. And many things can do that cable. That cable cannot shred out to, you know. The cable itself can burst and destroy the house and twist, you know. Or even burst too. So we have to ensure that during the servicing, we go through these things. Some vehicle now will not use cable none at all. Those systems are what we call shift by wire. So basically, what we have right here is a module, a shift lever module, and a can wire, well, two can wire or flex ray wire, can or flex ray wire, twisted pair cable, as I explained to you earlier. The can wires at every computer have these two wires, the flex ray wire, every computer have it, and whatever information right here, it just throw upon the wire, any module that want that information get it.
That's for hydraulic transmissions?
No man, that is for shift by wire. So you will not have a cable, so it's not all system. You're going to have a cable that run from right here to the safety neutral switch. The vehicle, in most cases, still have a manual shift fast, but it's not all system necessarily use a cable. And of course now, some vehicle might use a linkage. So you see like the trainer that we have in there, that use a linkage. So sometimes the linkage can wear to, you know. So when you think that you're in park or you're in reverse or you're in neutral, when you look down the safety neutral switch, it's not moving. So those things have to be checked during servicing too. Alright? Not just the fluid alone, because what we are accustomed to do, we are accustomed to just check the fluid and the filter, and that's it. Alright, the other thing we need to ensure that it's correct. Come around here. Is the mount. We need to ensure that the mount, of course, although this is an engine mount, but mount is very important. This is an engine mount. This is an engine mount, but the mount is very important. Alright, normally we would have another mount somewhere around here, so a back mount, back transmission mount, and then we'll have one on the subframe. Most vehicles, either the front part of the subframe or the back part of the subframe. The mount is very important, because if the transmission mount is extremely bad and it's constantly shifting, sometimes it can actually cause the vehicle to change gear, because in gearbox we say jump out of gear. What is that? What is not going to jump out of gear? It's going to change gear, because the transmission is doing like this.
Yes.
The transmission are down, so it's not steady. It's not a one place. So the mount needs to be checked too. All right. As what I said, this system and most modern system now, they don't necessarily carry a TV cable, but the older system, you need a safety, the throttle position sensor need to be checked too, and to ensure that it is in the correct position. In most cases, if you don't know where it's supposed to be, put it in the middle. But you have to be careful, you know, because some vehicle over time, people might adjust it to facilitate idling. But if your safety neutral switch, not a safety neutral, if your throttle position sensor is not set properly, it will affect shifting. Alright, so what is up? We're going to look on this fluid check, this fluid level right here. Down here is our dipstick. But you know that not all our transmission nowadays we have a dipstick. Some of our this yellow thing right here, it's there. See where the stick is touching right here. So on that, this is our dipstick.
Yes, sir.
Alright. So we're gonna check the fluid, and I want somebody to tell me the condition. I'm just gonna clean it off. Alright. If you should observe this dipstick right here, we have hot. And around here we have cold. So
read the cold now.
So it's supposed to be up in the cold region because the transmission is cold.
Yes.
I remember I told you that based on previous experience and what I'm experiencing now, I'm sensing that I have to apply more engine power, RPM, for the transmission to go the same speed. We already confirmed that this transmission, we have two type of fluid that we use in the transmission. What are the two type of fluid? We have to establish.
ATF and CVT. ATF.
And ATF. Alright. So even if you're buying a general fluid and it don't avail in your region, because by law, you know, the most likely thing to do is to call the dealer and tell them the type of vehicle that you have, and they will sell you the correct fluid. Sometimes the dealer is extremely expensive, so you what to do? You call the dealer, tell them the fluid that you want, and when them tell you the fluid that you want, you try to go to somewhere else and buy the fluid. In most cases, you will get it at least 20% cheaper. So, we're going to check this fluid level right here in the cool region, and let us see, stick it right here. Right. Alright, so I stick it a while ago. Alright. Are you guys seeing something now? You see something? What do you say?
Like you want oil.
Oil is in good condition and it's okay.
The fluid is in good condition, but what about the level? That is correct.
Level is not high.
Level lower.
One more tap.
Alright, so we want some more transmission fluid. So that's why I was after applying more engine power to get the same speed, because the fluid level is lower. Alright, not bad, but the good thing about it, the fluid level is not burned, or the fluid level is not deteriorating. So we know that there's no excessive wear taking place in the transmission pertaining to clutch. No excessive wear taking place pertaining to the clutch, the pulley housing, the torque converter, stator, etc. Because if any one of those things was taking place, would say some black, the fluid start to get dark. Eh?
So you have to explain, for some transmission, you have to check it while the vehicle are running.
Yes, for some transmission, more CVT, but in this particular case, it distinctly shows us where to check our fluid. And I remember something clearly, you know. We get about 4 bottles out of the transmission, you know so?
Yeah.
4 empty bottles, right? And we said to save back a little bit. But initially, when 3 was pouring there, it was filled. That's all. But the transmission didn't get to run and warm up on these things. So that's why it runs short. So I have fluid that I'm going to put back in there. But alright. So we have inspected the mechanical integrity of the automatic transmission. And of course you have to look place like where the torque converter housing is. Because you know that that place can leak. Where the CV, where the drive axle seal is, that can leak. Where the fluid pan is and the drain plug is, those things can leak. And also this hose right here. This hose that go to the
Is the radiator.
alright, let me see this one. The one here not go to the radiator because this transmission here have it cooler. Transmission here have it cooler, you know. See it here? See the cooler right here, sir? So the fluid will go to this right here. Yeah.
You have to try in some cases.
You see it? If you should look right there, so that is a transmission cooler. But we have to ensure that these hoses are in good integrity, good thing. They are not crystallized, they are not leaking. Alright, so during the servicing we have to analyze the mechanical integrity of our system. Alright, now the next thing we need to look at now, come around this side now, is the next thing we need to look at now is the electrical integrity of our automatic transmission. Alright, so
The clear.
yeah, I'm to go in the vehicle. I'm going in
They
the
good
vehicle.
way today. No?
No, I'm going in the vehicle, man, because after a while, I'm probably you can sit. Can I get a better view now?
Yeah.
Better? Alright, good. So, when you look on the diagnose in the transmission, diagnose under P programmable memory fuel injection. I think that's what under mean by PCM. AT. What AT mean again? I don't remember.
Repeat that.
AT. What AT mean?
Automatic.
Oh, automatic transmission. So this is the one I should select then.
Yes, sir.
Alright. You guys said it in not I. Alright, 16 pin or 3 pin? 16 pin because OBD2 system use 16 pin, right? The older under them will use 3 pin.
So that was 17 pin.
That's of a OBD1. That's of a, what is a Toyota? Yeah, but that's a Toyota OBD1. Let me. This is what it look like. 17 pin, but this is a OBD1. You find the Hilux them and the Mark II them carry something like that. The older Mark II. Alright, enter. So what we are analyzing now, we are analyzing the integrity of the electronics of the automatic transmission. So the first thing I do, I read trouble code. And then we're going to find current. We're going to find if there's any. Oh, we have one trouble code. Interested? Oh, alright. This is very important, people. I found one trouble code in the transmission.
Yes, sir.
But here the code. The code is U0121. You see a U code? It means communication. You see that same communication? Remember that CAN network that I was telling you earlier about?
Yes, sir.
That each computer will have 2 wires that come to it, and that wire is shared among all the computer. Any information that inside the computer will be available on those 2 wires.
Yes,
Alright. You see, because this scan tool is not a manufacturer or generic scan tool, anytime, not anytime, most time, when they use an aftermarket scan tool, the scan tool creates an issue with the CAN network.
Why is that, sir?
Because the CAN network is seeing a foreign object or a foreign electronic component interfere with its system, so it trigger off a code. So a code like this, people, you would ignore it. A code like this, you would ignore it. So don't go try to figure out what this code means. And if it's a lost communication with anti-lock, braking system, ABS, control module, current. It's a lost communication. But the issue is that if it lost communication with the ABS module, mother office is some check light or something chipping or the D light blinking continuously. And I was not experiencing that. So for now, I would ignore this. The only way I would pay this attention if I see some check light come in or the D light, or I start to experience drivability problem or the ABS light come in. So if I see ABS light come in, I would pay it attention. If I see the D transmission light blinking, I would pay it attention. If you see the check light, I would pay attention. People, not interfere with your sign. I would pay attention to that. But other than that, I'm going to ignore it. Alright? The next thing I'm going to look on now, so I escape that. So I'm seeing a code, but it's a communication code. And you find a lot of these code. So I'll go back to automatic transmission. How long now so far? 17 minutes. Alright. Let us look on the 16 pin. So we are looking at current data and read data stream. And people, this is important to know because remember we want to look back on Mr. Douglas vehicle.
Yes, sir.
And compare some data, retrieving signal. Alright, please wait. Alright, so sometimes these things can take a little while. Too bad I'm not going to edit this video right here because alright, good. So here we have APP. APP means acceleration pedal position sensor. So I want to see the data of this. Oh, enter again. Alright, so we're going to have APP mean acceleration pedal position sensor. What we're going to do now, we're just going to look on the information that is on the live data and see if we see anything outrageous. Things what we mean by outrageous, if we are seeing any negative. In most cases, when I see negative, you have a warp circuit. But however, remember tool, you know, this tool is not a generic tool, you know. So if you're seeing negative and the vehicle is driving good and there is no check light and there is no drivable problem, leave it alone. Alright. Constantly press escape. It's not escape, I need to press enter.
Sir, so you said the generic tool is which type?
Nah man, the generic tool are like dealer tool man, a factory specified scan tool. But most of the aftermarket tool them we buy, you're gonna find you're going to get some local data sometimes where it will tell us there's a defect within the system or tell you a code, but in reality the vehicle is not showing any symptom of that. So if it's not showing any symptom of that, just leave it alone. So if you know if you have a power problem or if you have a check light problem, alright, enter, 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 D, enter. And we know that these things are working. And if for some reason this information is not being displayed, if this information is not being displayed, you can come to the scan tool and look on these live data. And these live data now will fuel. These live data now will give you a fairly good idea of what is going on inside the transmission. Pressure control solenoid actuator. Alright, drive pulley, and some of these things will not activate unless if the vehicle start to drive. Alright, so engine speed, torque converter, turbine, ABS, secondary atmospheric pressure, that is coming from the map sensor. Alright, escape. When I escape now, it's supposed to activate everything. Alright, things take a little time. Alright, so most of the information good. Alright, so we want to know that the pedal position sensor is working. Alright, you see a pedal position sensor, people? Typically, they work on a two condition. Some of them work on a seesaw condition. Meanwhile, one is going up, one is going down. So if I should step on the accelerator pedal right here, you would see the value start to change. Wanna see that? So 1 is 2.22 and 1 is 1. So that is a seesaw. When I ease up, gradually ease up, you will see how the data fall again, how the value rating switch. Alright, take a little time. Alright, so there it is. Good. So the pedal position sensor is working properly. If we should go to now the, alright, we know that park, neutral, or reverse. So it's a bit R off. Neutral. It take a little time to upload. See there just a turn on. See the part just off. D. Don't have the D right here. S. Alright, but we know that these things is working, but for some reason it's not working. For whatever reason, you can't think that. Let's start it and see if we can get any little more value activating this thing right here. Oh, I have to put in a neutral. Alright, good. So it's a forward switch on. Put my foot on the brake here, yeah. Forward switch on, ATF switch. Alright. I'll set the lower forward switch off. Alright, so these are some of the data. So you just go and play with the transmission until you see the data will come on and off. Alright, inclination sensor. Creep. Alright. Transmission warming up status. Them say 9. I don't know if that is 9 milliseconds or what. Alright, distance travel. Since battery connected. 2,450 miles. Interested. I know some travel them distances since some battery connect. Alright, pulley ratio 0 because the vehicle is not driving at this point. But for the most part, alright now, it's a pressure control solenoid. All these solenoid must be using some form of current. Alright? If you say a solenoid 000 amps, you know that the solenoid not run none at all. So if you should scan the transmission, it's like solenoid is your actuator is and you look on a solenoid and it's a 000 or it's a -0, you know that the solenoid is just not good.
Like
so
vehicle speed, but in a kind of go at no speed too.
Yeah. So when you look on these the value the value can give you a fairly good idea of what is going on. Inclination sensor output 2.33 voltage, target revolution speed 00, engine RPM. So you see it, so if the tachometer even not even work, we can go even at the transmission. I remember so the transmission now, you know, would have get this information from the engine management side, you know. Alright? So these are things that you have to take into consideration if your transmission are give an issue, where the information is coming from. And for the most part, so that's it. So we have analyzed the mechanical integrity of the transmission. We are talking about things like the pulley, the hose, the axle seal. We have checked the fluid and we have established that the fluid is low. So we need to top up with the fluid and check again. And we have checked the electronics of the transmission. We did get a code, but it's a communication code. And you notice I'm getting a check light now. I'm getting a check light now. And I'm just going to... There's a possibility the reason why I'm getting this check light. The possibility the reason why I'm getting this check light is because the scan tool. So current, I'll just check what code is in here.
So because scan tool lip on the car, so that's
yeah, well it's a 3 code. See this U code come back again. This U code come back again. I tell you about this U appear communication code. You know? So here what I'm gonna do. I'm going to just erase these code. Diagnostic trouble code clear. I'm just going to erase this code. Erase file code. It's an erase file code fail. Well, I expect it to fail because the scan tool has create communication issue with the tool. Alright. Switch off. Make it chill for a little time. And then let us turn it on back and start. Oh. Alright. Alright, so the code is gone. So you see that it was a scan tool that create the communication issue. And I told you about that earlier. So don't go and tracing after Duppy. Sometimes the tool itself will trick you. And then you have the vehicle drive up a whole of Maxfield Avenue all over the place. I try to find what is causing this code. You change computer, you change this, you change that, and then you're back to square one. So you have to ensure that the scan tool, it don't create an interference, because them scan tool here are not generic scan tool. They're aftermarket scan tool. And then some of them will give you fast data reading too, you know. And that's why it's very critical. You have to sometimes test the component with your multimeter, if possible, if you can get access to it and test it. Alright, so that's it for our transmission inspection and diagnostic and evaluation of sensor data.